Hey everybody, this is Greg Ryder. Welcome to today's webinar. So I'm pretty excited about what's going on, and just getting a few things set up. Run a little bit behind, had a friend in from out of town and went to breakfast and getting things caught up. So I want to say welcome to our webinar, and I'm going to turn on another recording device that I want to do. So I am going to get that set up, and I am going to start recording. Let's see here. Let's get rid of webinar GM. Okay, so this is Greg, and I want to say thanks for showing up. I'm going to give it a couple minutes and let people get on the line here, and I see a lot of people coming on the line. Thank you for that. Go ahead and tell me, the city you're at and the name and where you're from, and give me a little shout out that you can hear me okay, and I'll acknowledge you. Okay, Candace says hello from Charlotte, and there's Paul from Wyoming. There's David from Kentucky, and there's John from New York, and there's another John from Sacramento. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate your guys' time. I really appreciate you getting on this thing. Very excited about what I'm going to be sharing today, and the 11 secrets to raising capital and the mindset to be a money magnet. I'm going to get started in just about a minute now, and I can see you guys are telling me that you can hear me okay, so thank you very much. A lot of people getting on the line today. So go ahead, when you get online and you can hear me, go ahead and say, I can hear you, Greg, and thank you just shout out where you're from. And, oh, look, I see we have Melvin from Escondido. Thank you, Melvin, for showing up. I know Melvin. And there's Ed from San Diego. Oh, welcome, Ed. Appreciate it. And very cool. Everyone's coming on board. You guys can hear me okay? Great. So technology is working good. I do have a PowerPoint that I'm going to switch to here in a few minutes and go over the PowerPoint. Sounds like you guys can hear me okay and everything's going fantastic. So again, this is Greg Ryder. Welcome to the webinar. I'm going to give it one more minute and we're going to get started. Just for the few people that may be showing up late to get here. Sometimes I know it's hard to get on board, and we do have technology that sends out, if you told the technology, here's my cell phone number, it'll give you a little text reminder and that kind of stuff. So again, this is Greg Ryder, and this is going to be a webinar called 11 Secrets to Finding Investors and the Mindset to be a Money Magnet. And it'll all come really, really clear on why this is so important. And this really literally could be some of the most valuable time you've ever spent if in fact you need capital to grow your business, or I actually believe it's one of the most important skill sets an entrepreneur can have, because any successful entrepreneur, they need capital. They don't necessarily need investor capital, but they need growth capital, and they need cash flow capital. They need money at some point in time to grow their business. Whether you're a startup or going from $1 million to $2 million or $2 million to $5 million or $5 million to $20 million, the need for capital is always there. So with that being said, I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate everybody. So let me go ahead and I'm going to launch my PowerPoint. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see here. Let's launch that one and start screen share, and we'll go F5. So I'm going to pause just a little bit, and we got the recording. Actually, the recording's going, so I'm just going to pause a little bit and go ahead and start this presentation. Hello, everybody. This is Greg Ryder, and welcome to 11 Secrets to Finding Investors and the Mindset to Become a Money Magnet. I want to first by saying thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I know that your time is valuable, and I'm a huge respecter of time. I help entrepreneurs get the money they need to start and grow their business. Regardless if you're a new entrepreneur or someone who already has a business plan, or maybe you've already raised $1 million, you need the next $1 million, we can help you at Angel Investors Network. So are you in a position where you start thinking about crowdfunding or raising money and you just don't know where to start? You're confused whether you should do a crowdfunding campaign or whether you should get investors, what you should do and how you should do that? Well, we want to help you solve those issues. We want to help you, give you alternatives and education and knowledge, because knowledge is power, on what you can do there. And I need to close Skype. So knowledge is power, and knowledge is information. Knowledge is going to get you where you want to go, and it really is some of the most valuable information. And if you're listening to this, I'm hoping that I'm going to give you exactly what you need. And obviously you wouldn't be here if you didn't want investors, because that's the title of this thing, is Finding Investors. And I know exactly how you feel. I've been there. I've raised millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. I've helped companies raise money. I've raised money for myself. And I got to tell you, right now it is one of the most difficult climates to raise money in one respect. In another respect, it's one of the easiest climates to raise money. But at bottom line, it boils down to is if you don't know some of the stuff I'm going to share with you today, where to find investors, the mindset to become a money magnet, what investors are looking for, you literally don't stand a chance of raising any capital. It's just that simple. So you're making the right decision by listening to this and taking notes. So do me a favor, go ahead, turn off the cell phones, shut the doors, focus on what's going on here, because this literally could be some of the most important information of your career. And I want to do one other thing real quick. I want to change the format of my slideshow. Hold on a second. Sorry about this. Hopefully that won't mess things up too bad, but I wanted to get the right screen resolution so there's no black on the sides. I should have done that ahead of time. Okay. So moving on, here's the goals for today. I want to help you understand the importance of a mindset to become a money magnet, because literally without the right mindset, again, you become a money repellent. So investors who write checks and invest in companies, you literally become a money repellent, and you'll never raise money if you don't have the right mindset and the right attitude and the right language and all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole bunch to this, and I'm going to try to give you guys a great overview and give you guys a great understanding on what's going on and how you can leverage this information to get what you need to get when it comes to your funding and your financing needs. So with that being said, we're going to go over the money mindset, and then I'm going to go over 11 different places where investors hang out and how you can find them for your deal, right? Because that's the other issue is like, okay, I'm ready to go. I understand the mindset. I've got my language down. I got my offering document down. I'm legally compliant. All these things are in place. Where do I find investors, right? We're going to go over 11 places to find investors. And by the way, the very last one is the biggest golden nugget. Billions of dollars are sitting there waiting for you, and I'm going to share with you exactly where you got to go. Stay on till number 11, because number 11 is a golden nugget of billions of dollars available to you of hidden money ready to invest in companies. And we also want to share with you how, after this training is ended, how you can continue to learn this valuable skill set as an entrepreneur. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to go, okay, how do I get more? How do I continue down this path that's going to get me the money, the capital, and the expertise I need to really turn my dream into reality? And then, last but not least, for all you guys stay to the very end of this presentation, I'm going to give you guys a special link, and I'm going to give you a PDF version of my new book called Saving America One Crowd at a Time. And it's a great book that has stuff about the 7 secrets to raising capital. It talks about the Jobs Act, about crowdfunding, about free enterprise, about capitalism. It's a fantastic book, and you're absolutely going to love it. It'll be a great another quick read for you guys to understand exactly what you need and how you're going to get the money where you want to, get the money and the capital you need. So let me kind of start by going, well, why should you listen to me, right? Why is your time worth listening to me? So I'm going to give you a little bit of my background, because I want you to understand that, it's very, very important to understand that I have been there, I have done that. And in the beginning, my parents got divorced when I was 3 years old, and I kind of have that rich dad, poor dad story. If you ever read the book by Robert Kiyosaki, that's how my life was. My parents got divorced when I was about 3 years old, and I lived with my mom and had stepdads and half-brothers, and then I visited my wealthy dad. And one day I got into my dad's Jaguar. He got this brand new XJ12 Coupe Series 2, and it read just exactly like this picture. And I got in the front seat of his car, shotgun, and he had a big stack of stock confirmations. And it was just like 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, 212,000. And I'm like, holy macaroni. It was literally like 3 or 4 inches thick. And he was on his way to the accountant's office to get his taxes done. I said, what are these, Dad? And he said, oh, those are stock confirmations. And so when he pulled out those stock confirmations, I'm like, what's a stock? So that was my foray into the investment world. And not too long after that, my dad said, well, I'll teach you the ropes if you want to get involved, and if you have any money saved, I'll get you an investment. So my dad got me into a stock when I bought 20,000 shares of a stock, a pre-IPO, a pre-initial public offering, at 10 cents a share. And so I put $2,000 in. My dad put $100,000 in. And, excuse me, I piggybacked off my dad's investment. I sold that stock 4 months later at 70 cents a share, and I turned my measly $2,000 into $14,000 for a 21% increase in my capital. Pretty good return, right? So not long after that, I got my securities license, I got my stockbroker's license, and because I was Dirk Ryder's son, I started making a lot of money. I was making 20, 30, 40 grand a month some months. And I told my dad, Dad, I want to buy the firm I worked for. He goes, go for it. So I went and made an offer. And in November of actually somewhere in that 84, late 84, I ended up buying the firm that I worked for, and I was hailed as the youngest president of a brokerage firm at 21 years old in the history of the United States. No one had done that, and I tell people that was my first big mistake in life, because I went from a kid that started investing because my dad taught me. I got my securities license. I became a stockbroker. I started managing money. I had no idea what I was doing. But I was Dirk Ryder's son, so then I bought the firm I work for. Now I'm managing a whole bunch of brokers, and we're raising millions of dollars every month, millions of dollars every month. And so one of the original great success stories I have is the Home Shopping Network. We raised Home Shopping Network some of their original seed capital at $1 a share. Now it's a $3 billion market cap company, so a big success. And I refer to that in my book as a torrential downpour of economics. It's like when you fund a company, that's what I love about free enterprise and capitalism. When we get you the money as an entrepreneur, and you create a product, and you innovate, or you create a service, the jobs that creates, and the jobs that everything, the trickle down economics of that is phenomenal. And it's what makes America great, right? So another one was a great story. Was a guy walked in my office with a dual deck video player. He invented the world's first dual deck VCR, and he literally had two VCRs in a cardboard box, kind of like soldered together. And he goes, look, you put a VCR in here, and you push copy, and it copies from one VCR to the other. Well, we originally did a stock offering and raised him some money, and our investors got in at 10 cents a share. And then at its high, it hit $22 a share. That's a 220 times on an original investment. Now, I wish I could say that all my investors stayed in and we all made 220 times. We didn't. We all got out between $5 and $7 a share, which was still a 50 to 70 times return on investment. It was absolutely a phenomenal ride that we did. And again, to try to put that in perspective, a measly $10,000 investment would have turned into $2.2 million if you had a whole lot to the high. This is why we do this, right? We do it, one, because we like to support entrepreneurs. We love the entrepreneurial dream. We love innovation, but we also like to make lots of money. And now with the internet and global economies, billionaires are being created in 2, 3, 4 years. It's just phenomenal what's going on. Another one of the deals that I loved, which was fun, is we took public and raised money for the very first private space exploration company called Space Dev, and we got all our investors in at 10 cents a share, and we exited between $1 and $3 a share. We had another company called FirstNet Technologies, which was the very first internet malls on the internet that we bought, and we raised money and sold stock at 25 cents a share for that company, and we got all of our investors out between $2 and $10 a share, made a lot of money on that one. Another one we did was called the Forza Automobiles, and they imported this Italian frame from Italy over here as a sport utility vehicle, and we sold stock at 50 cents a share. Then they put a Ford drivetrain in it, and they had this really cool, amazing looking sport utility vehicle with this Italian look and feel, but it had a Ford motor in it, which was cool. And all of our investors got out at $4 to $5.50 in that stock. And then we did another one called La Jolla Coffee Company. We got all of our investors in at $0.25, and they exited between $2 and $3 a share. So not only have they been involved in raising a lot of capital, but I've been involved in the exit process as well. And I've been fortunate to have met with and shared the stage with a lot of different people. There's myself and Steve Forbes at the Money Show in Las Vegas, and there I am with Piers Morgan at another event. I really don't care for Piers Morgan, I don't mind saying. And there I am with Sean Hannity and the country western stars, blank in my mind. He was at the time he was doing the Monday Night Football singing. Anyway, blank in my mind, just lost it. And that's my daughter when she was a little, like, 9-year-old. And here I am at the Indy 500 down in with Rick Neuheisel, and Rick Neuheisel at the time was doing the lollipop guy for the Bradley car, but he was also the head coach for the CU Buffaloes at one point, and then he was the head coach for UCLA, and he was the head coach for I think it was the Seattle Seahawks. So pretty cool meeting people, and here I am meeting with Wyland, the artist, and I just bring these up just because I've been fortunate, I've been blessed to meet a lot of people because of the investment world, because of the entrepreneurial world, and I love it. And that's one of the reasons I do it. I get to meet lots of cool people, do lots of cool things, and here I am with one of my business partners, Master P, and this guy, at his height was worth $750 million. I wish I could say I was even close to that. But just an awesome situation. I get to meet and do business with a lot of people, and I even met God. So here I am when I was like 22, 23 years old with when they did that movie, Oh God, and one of the companies I raised money for, we raised $4.5 million for a company called Foxmore Films. And I got to fly out to LA from Colorado and got to hang out in Hollywood, and it was pretty cool little business. So needless to say, I've been there, done that, raised a lot of money, been involved in a lot of deals. And for all these winners that I just pointed out, because you always want to point out the winners, for every winner I have, there's at least 5 to 7 losers, right? There's 5 to 7 losers. So over the years, I kind of figured out what caused people and companies to fail, and that's kind of why we're here. We want to work with you, is we want to help entrepreneurs succeed more, right? Because it's what makes America great. And here's a cool picture. I was with Dr. Art Laffer, and Art Laffer is made famous for supply side economics, literally the father of supply side economics. And he was also the president of Ronald Reagan's Economic Policy Advisory Board for both of his 2 terms. So he literally was in the White House with Ronald Reagan, and he was the guy that said if you lower the tax rate, you're going to increase the tax revenue to the government, and that's why we had such the big boom when Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. And Art Laffer and a few of his partners actually invested $4 million in one of the companies that we started and own called Children's Educational Network. And here's a press release that in September 11th of 2008, the Laffer Frischberg Wallace Economic Opportunity Fund made a $4 million investment in one of my companies. So again, I've been there, I've done that. I know what it takes to raise the capital. I know what it takes to get an exit for the capital. I understand everything that you need. So the goal is to take this wisdom, this knowledge, these relationships, this network of investors I have, and help you get to where you want to go. So you have to understand, first of all, that I believe I'm qualified, and I don't tell you that stuff to brag about. I want you to understand and feel comfortable that I'm not a poser. There's a lot of posers out there that say stuff, and you know what? In reality, too, let me say this: I'm a small fry. I think I've raised maybe 150 million or something with all these deals out of 30, 40 years. That's a small fry in the investment banking world, really, really small. There's lots of people that have raised a lot more than me, but I have to point out is the money that I raised and the companies I've worked for have been the early stage, startup, napkin, early stage companies. I didn't work with a lot of $10 million, $50 million, $100 million, $500 million companies. So I really understand the entrepreneurial spirit. I really am attracted and I love helping the entrepreneur succeed. So again, going back through all those losses and all that kind of stuff, we figured out, okay, why do companies fail? Right? It's mindset, it's marketing, it's management, and the idea is we want to help you with that, right? So today, let's talk a little bit, now that I've got through that whole point stuff, let me talk a little bit about mindset, the money magnet mindset, because this is super, super important. The first thing is you have to understand you have to become a money magnet and not a repellent. And I'm going to bring this to your top of mind consciousness, because if you don't understand this and you're not top of mind conscious about it, you don't really know if you're saying or doing things that make you a money repellent. It happens to me every day because we still invest, because we have this network of investors. Companies come to us on a daily basis, and they want us to talk to them. They want to pitch us. They want our money. They want all this kind of stuff. And it's just amazing how I have these built-in triggers, as what I call it, as a professional investor. I mean, like, I'm a professional investor. I know what I'm doing. I know what to look for. And there's these things that when a minute an entrepreneur says something, I don't consciously think I'm not going to invest in that deal. I subconsciously and consciously, I'm done. You're over. Like, it could be one sentence, it could be one thing, it could be one red flag, and we want to share things with. I want to share some of that stuff with you. I want you to understand what that is, right? And so the goal is you got to avoid being a money repellent, and one of the ways you do that is you got to be a money magnet. Now, the first thing that you have to have as a mindset and as a mentality and as every part of your being is you must believe that you will make your investors money. That's what we're investing in, is a return on our investment. We want our money to grow, right? So with that being said, if you don't 100% wholeheartedly, with every ounce of being you have, believe that you're going to make my money grow, you're done. So that's the first part. That one's kind of an easy one for a lot of people. For some people, it's not quite so easy. They still have a little risk. They still have a little fear. They're not 100% sure. They're not 100% confident that they can make it work, but they think they can. You got to get to where you know you can. And as an investor, I want to believe that you know you can. Now, maybe I might think, well, you need some education, you need some marketing, you need some help. But I like his tenacity. I like his belief system. I like that confidence in himself. We want to see that confidence, right? And along those lines, one of my favorite questions I would ask investors, or entrepreneurs, is how much money have you raised with your friends and family? And if an entrepreneur answers that question and says, well, I would never ask my friends and family for money, what does that say to me? That says to me they're not confident, right? That says to me they're not willing to ask their friends and family for money, but they want me to ask my friends and family for money for them. That means that they're not confident. Don't ever answer an investor, I would never ask my friends and family for money. You might say, hey, my friends and family don't have any money, or I've already asked them for money, or I need some help on structure before I ask my friends and family for money. But don't ever say, I would never ask my friends and family for money, because if you won't ask your friends and family for money, I surely am not going to raise you a dime, period. I'm not going to introduce you to my investors. We're not going to do anything with that. And again, I want to make something clear too. I am not an investment banker now. I do not have an investment firm. I do not raise money for company. I help you raise money. I give you the knowledge, the education, the tools for you to raise capital, as well as I do have a network of investors that under the right circumstances we can put you in front of people that write checks, and we might even write a check at some point, right? So we are investors, and we do have investors in our network that we can put you in touch with. So now, for you to believe you will make your best money, let's say that's easy for you. You got that down. Well, now, and let's say you don't. You have to know your market, you have to know your industry, you have to have your plan in every detail. I want to know that you know what you're doing, how you're going to get there, and what you're going to do. And if you don't know a particular area of what you're going to do and how you're going to get there, you need to articulate to me how you're going to find out what to do and how you're going to do it. Because again, when you know that kind of stuff and you know your market, you know your industry, you know your plan in every detail, that's what gives you the confidence to know I'm going to make my investor money. Right? I know I'm going to make my investors money. And give you a quick example. Well, I don't need an example. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? So you got to know your industry, and I want to know that you know. The minute you start leading, answering questions or saying things that make me think, even if it's not factual, if you say things that make me think, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know your market, you don't your industry, you don't know your plan and exactly how you're going to execute your plan, you're done. Over. Now, number 3 along the side, that same thought process, you believe you're going to make investors money, you know your market, industry plan, and you know everything about in every detail, and you can articulate that. I want you to have evidence of potential and evidence of upside. I want you to have proof, as if you were a lawyer and you're in a courtroom and you're trying to convince the jury beyond any reasonable doubt that you're going to make me money, right? So the investor is like the jury. You got to convince us. You got to persuade us with words, one, yes, and language, yes. The right words coming out of your mouth, yes. But you want to back that up with evidence, with proof. with patents, with intellectual property, trademarks, with letters of intent, with pre-sales, with board of directors, with management. So every time you can make a claim about your market or make a claim about your plan, and then you can back it up with some evidence showing that there's potential, showing that there's upside, showing that you can execute. Any kind of evidence is what makes you a money magnet, right? So it's just a very cool concept. So put your little money magnet folder together. So when you out there presenting to investors, you have a folder, and in your folder you have letters of recommendation, you have letters of intent, you have purchase orders, you have pre-orders, you have letters from your attorneys that you filed patents, you have patents issued, whatever that is, that evidence that backs up your support. Or if you say the market's this big and there's $2 billion of this, there's 400 million of this, give me some evidence to back that up. I don't want to take your word for it. I want a third-party evidence that yes, there is a market for this product or service. Yes, there is people in this industry, and yes, this is going to work. Does that make sense? So if this is all making sense, you're liking it, go ahead and tell me in the chat box that you like it. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Steve. Yep, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, thank you. Okay, everyone's loving it. Okay, love this stuff. I love it. Love it too. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on. So the 11 secrets to finding investors. Now I'm going to go over some stuff that maybe sounds obvious to you, but in this day and age, it's not like it used to be. You really have to be creative about where you go and where you find investors, and you also want to try to find investors. And there's 2 or 3 kinds of investors, and depending on how much money you're raising and how much money you need to raise and what you're willing to give up for that money, you're going to maybe go for professional investors, which would be angel groups and venture capitalists. Now, 99% of every entrepreneur will never get past first base with an angel group or a venture capitalist, especially without the kind of education that I'm giving you right now, as well as a whole bunch of education you would need to get through their gatekeeping and their review process. So now you say, okay, I can't get the money from the professionals because I'm not ready, I don't have my act together, or maybe you just don't want money from them because they're greedy, like on Shark Tank TV show, they want 50% of your company or they want too much of your company. You can go find other people, high net worth individuals that aren't necessarily investors, that aren't professional investors, but they do have money to invest. So where do you find them? Networking events. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the companies that we're representing is called Value Add-on, valueaddon.com, and they have a membership site platform that's very cool, and they have a cloud-based technology platform that's for information marketers and digital marketers to sell their digital product online in a cloud-based format. That's one of the primary situations. So if they went to internet marketing events and to events where coaches, speakers, gurus hang out, and they network with people at those events, those are not only their clients, but they're also possibly investors. So you want to go to the right networking events and look at networking events and make sure they're the right networking event, that not only would you find potential customers and joint venture partners, but possibly investors. And that's one of the greatest places too, is to get investment from your suppliers and joint venture partners. Same thing with trade shows and conferences. In all the major cities, and I happen to live in San Diego, so we have the San Diego Convention Center, there's something always going on, and there's always companies in a niche or in a vertical that you could go to, build some relationship with, build a rapport with, and get them to invest in your company. And people don't think of that. So you got to think again about what kind of trade shows could you go to where you would find the ideal customer, so you're not wasting your time. We do not want you to waste your time going to the wrong events, going to the wrong trade shows and conferences. Do your homework, do your research, go to those shows where those people would hang out that are in your sector, that are in your vertical, whatever you want to call that, and that they might be a potential investor in your company. And again, going back to vendors and that kind of stuff, if you're going to be buying a product to build your product from somebody else, they're likely to invest in you because they want you to succeed, because they see you as being a long-term client of theirs. Another great place to find investors is business brokers. This is one of those little secrets that no one knows, no one does, but what do business brokers do, right? They sell businesses for business owners. So who do they sell those to? Other investors, right? So a lot of times, and again, business brokers like to work on finder's fees or commissions, right? So a lot of times a business broker is going to have a little black book, a little client list of people that buy businesses or have bought businesses in the past, and there's just opportunity to get outside of the box and work with business brokers, because they want to do this because they're used to representing buyers and sellers, and they work for commissions. So you could, and you can't do this in all states, but most states you can pay a finder's fee or a one-time referral fee for somebody to refer you to an investor. But a business broker, it would be a more strategic way to go find investors, because they could help you, and maybe they team you up with another business they're trying to sell. Maybe they you tie in a funding with a business that a broker's trying to sell, and you buy that business, and then you can get funding along with it because you're bringing in cash flow, and you go from a startup to an operational business with something synergistic what you're doing. You got to think outside of the box. But business brokers, and they're everywhere. They're all over the country, and you can start cold calling some business brokers and sharing with them. And LinkedIn's a great thing for this, by the way. You can start sharing with them what you're doing and see if they have an interest. And it doesn't take but a couple sentences, a couple minute phone call to see if people have an interest to do that. And again, it's an out-of-the-box thought process to find money. No one does that. Another really, really good resource for investors is CPAs. I've literally raised tens of millions of dollars from CPAs and referrals from CPAs. And why are CPAs such great for this? One, well, why? They know which clients have money, and they know what kind of clients invest, and they're so intimately involved with their financial statements in the financial world. And some CPAs are totally turned off with the idea that they would even talk to you about this. But a lot of CPAs, they're deal makers. They see the wisdom of this, and they're not going to invest on behalf of their clients, but they can refer you to clients that they know are sitting on millions of dollars of cash, or they know, hey, they've made similar investments in the past. So CPAs are another good avenue. Now you can go find CPA associations, you can find events for CPAs, you can find trade shows and conventions for CPAs so you can get to where they hang out, you can advertise in newsletters, there's all kinds of things you can do. And now with the laws being changed because of the Jobs Act signed by President Obama in 2012, you now can advertise for accredited investors. So you could leverage CPA newsletters and events and advertise and get in front of CPAs with the intention that they might invest, but they could also refer you to a potential investor that could fund your company. Another really, really great one, number 5 on the list, is law firms and just other professionals. So when raising capital and looking for investors, you need to find places where high net worth individuals hang out, or what are those high net worth professions, right? So if you're trying to get the guy that owns the coffee shop down the street to invest, the chances are not very good, because the guy that owns the coffee shop, he might have a good business, but he's not sitting on millions of dollars of extra cash. Where lawyers and people that work at law firms, and they're charging $500, $800 an hour, and they're working for big corporations and getting big settlements, they have millions and millions of dollars, and these are high net worth individuals, and they could possibly be an investor for what you're doing. So again, think about who is that high net worth individual in that niche or that vertical that would really be attracted to your product or service, that they would really resonate with what you're doing, that might want to invest, and that would be a great place for you to find investors. You know, everything from dentists to chiropractors to printers to bankers. You know, you really want to go, and again, I mentioned printer there because most companies have a lot of need, I should say most companies, but a lot of companies have a lot of need for printing, whether that's printing documents or books or user manuals or posters or trade show stuff. And a lot of times you can maybe even get a printer to barter with you for stock or equity and do all your printing for you. I've done that in the past as well. So think about those professions that they charge a lot of money and they have high net worth that could do that. Obviously, people you do business with, you know. What lawyer, if you're a lawyer that's helping you with your securities, with your intellectual property, if they're not helping refer people to you, you need to get a different lawyer. You need to get different professions, people working with you. They should be helping you get stuff going on. And I alluded to it earlier, but vendors and buyers, people that are already buying your product, or you know they're going to buy your product, they're good people to talk to about investing, right? Because they can invest and then get a discount on what they're buying from you. There's different ways to structure that. And same thing with vendors. Again, I said a little bit ago, if a vendor knows you're going to keep giving him business, you could even contractually say, hey, put a $100,000 investment, and I'm going to give you a 3-year contract so I can continue to buy from you. He wants you to succeed because you're a client of his. So he double dips that way. He's going to make money on his investment, and he's going to make money because you're buying product or some component or something from that vendor. So that's another good one. There's really good strategic investors are the best. So when you can find somebody that could invest, that can also bring something else to the table, is what we call a strategic investor. That's very, very, very good advice. So, and then I mentioned angel groups. In most, not most, I'm pretty sure I could say now, in all major metropolitan cities, there are angel groups, and even in some of the smaller cities, there are investment clubs. So you could Google Angel Group San Diego, Angel Group, New Mexico, Angel Group Colorado, investment groups. So you can find angel groups and these are professional investors, and they're in all major cities. But you got to keep in mind that we have a criteria that we look at. We know what we're looking for. We know, and again, I have a whole nother course on what angels look for and how they want to invest and that kind of stuff. So you might want to get involved with what we're doing so you can get the rest of the picture. Because I have a whole course on just what do angels want to invest in, and what is their prerequisite, and what kind of returns do they need. So again, once you understand what kind of investments angel investors make, you'll know, do I meet those requirements? Is this somewhere I want to play and I can go down that road or not? Because the bottom line is you do not want to be wasting your time talking to angel investors when they're never going to invest in your company. So, and in our members area, which we have a membership site, and in our membership site, which at the end I'll show you how you might get access. You can have access to our membership site. We have a list of all the angel groups in the country, and we're constantly updating it and adding people to it. And we even have some VCs listed in there and that kind of stuff to make it easy for you to find them and negotiate with them. And we're trying to, add content to that area that kind of describes what kind of investments they make. Because a lot of investors in angel groups, like a lot of angel groups, if they're like, say, in a city, San Diego, they only want to invest in San Diego companies because they recognize that they want to be able to go and meet the company and visit the offices and that kind of stuff. And there's other angel groups where the angels will invest in places outside their city. So now here's another golden nugget that most people don't know about and have never heard of, and that's SEC filings. And SEC stands for Securities and Exchange Commission, and those are filings. So you find public companies that are in your space or somewhat related. So again, you're trying to find investors that would be really already predisposed to resonate with what you're doing. And let me give you an example. So Facebook goes public, right? Well, Facebook had a lot of investors. And investors made a fortune in Facebook, right, when they went public. Well, when those early investors that invested in Facebook and then Facebook goes public, they have to create filings with the SEC saying that they're selling their stock. So you can go to the SEC, the EDGAR database, it's called, EDGAR, EDGAR database, and in the EDGAR database you can look up Facebook and you can see every single insider, those were referred to as insiders, who are selling their stock and how much. So so-and-so selling 100,000 shares and putting $5 million in his pocket, or stuff like that. So then, a lot of times, now Facebook and high-profile companies like that, it might be a little harder to track down and actually get a hold of those investors, but there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of public companies where insiders are selling their stock every day, and they're not high-profile. And a lot of times you can just look up the SEC filings, find a public company, find their filings, find out who's selling their stock, and now they sold their stock. They're sitting on a boatload of cash, right? So then sometimes you can just go on Facebook and friend them on Facebook or connect with them on LinkedIn, and you can track them down real easily and explain to them your situation and possibly get an investor. It's a great way to find millions and millions and millions of dollars because all the wealth that is created on Wall Street, that stock is out there and people are selling it every day, and so every day there's just tons of cash. And these people that invested in an early stage company and then exited when it went public, and they're making 50 times, 70 times, 200 times, 800 times their money, they love playing this game. So they're really, really high candidates to invest in your company. Very, very great strategy. So you just got to research other companies that got funded and then went public. And this doesn't work for private companies, only works for public companies, so you can find their filings and kind of go down that road. And number 9 on the list is capital team. So again, like I said earlier, I want you to check with your attorneys. And if you don't have an attorney with Angel Network, we can refer you to an attorney. We can get you a free consultation. But you check with your attorneys and find out what states allow a finder's fee. And so what you do is you find what we call a capital team. And a capital team is somebody that's going to scout for you. They go, Greg, I don't have the money to invest, but I love what you're doing. I want to support what you're doing, and I will try to introduce you to some people. So you try to get those direct introductions, and you don't want them selling your investment opportunity. You don't want them pitching the investment opportunity. All you want them to do is to make a referral, a warm referral to somebody that you can call and ask them, hey, I was referred to you by Greg. would you be mind if I could get 10 or 15 minutes of your time to share with you what I'm doing and see if you're open to my investment opportunity? So you do not want your capital team doing your presentation, pitching, trying to raise money for you. That is against the law. Do not do that. You just want them to give you referrals, and if they refer you somebody that invests, in most states you can pay finder's fee, a one-time finder's fee. You can't do this over and over and over and over again with the same people, because now they become, money raisers, and they need to be regulated for that. But you can pay a little finder's fee for them helping you find somebody. So very cool. Number 10 is really centers of influence, and I want you guys to think about this. You have to look at, and there's this cool software program called Clout, K-L-O-U-T, and Clout ties into your Twitter and your LinkedIn and your Facebook, and it shows you who the people are who are centers of influence. Like, for instance, I'm a center of influence. I know a lot of people. I speak on stage. I travel a lot. I have a lot of high-profile clients. So because of that, I'm a center of influence. So you have to look in your little sphere of relationships. Who is the center of influence that you need to get with and talk to and share with what you're doing? Because those are the ones that can refer you the most people. Those are the ones that know a lot of movers and shakers. And in every culture, in every society, in every city, and in every, whatever we want to call it, there are centers of influence. There are some people that know 100 and 200 and 300 people, and there's some people that know 5 people, right? So you want to get to those centers of influence. And a good example for me in my city is I happen to know the mayor of Escondido, and the mayor of Escondido would obviously be a center of influence. And not only does he know a ton of people, but he's highly respected because he's the mayor, and if he were to make a recommendation or make an introduction, it's going to go a lot better, a lot further than something else. So you got to get referrals from those centers of influence. And here's number 11. This is the one I was telling you about that seriously is the gold mine of all gold mines, of all gold mines, of all gold mines, that you can find. There's billions, just billions of dollars of uninvested capital. So most of our society and our culture here in the United States is we save money and we put IRA account or a 401k account, and this is like our retirement fund, and it can grow in there tax-free and that kind of stuff. Well, there are a lot of people, again, going back to the high income earners, doctors and lawyers and plastic surgeons and that kind of stuff, surgeons in general. They make lots of money. They put their money in these IRA accounts, and that money just sits there. Well, there's a little known thing that most people don't know about, and they're called self-directed IRA and self-directed retirement accounts. And what you can do is people can move their money from their Charles Schwab IRA to a self-directed IRA, and they can direct their investments, and they can put their money to work for them, right? So there's 4 or 5 companies out there in the country that, and if you want to find out more about this, you can go to angelnetwork.com/IRA at some point. angelnetwork.com/IRA, and we have a little report there that we can offer in referrals. But these self-directed IRAs, they manage billions and billions of dollars. So you move your money from one IRA account where you don't get to touch it, you can't do it, you can't direct it, and you move it into a self-directed IRA. Now they can buy real estate, you can buy stocks, you can buy bonds, you can buy gold, you can do anything you want with your money. And as long as you leave it in your IRA, any return on investment can grow tax-free. Now, I'm not giving you tax advice. You can confirm that with your tax people, but it's awesome. So these self-directed IRA companies, it's a great way when you meet somebody who says, "Man, I wish I could invest, but I don't have the money." It's like, "Well, do you have a self-direct? Do you have an IRA? Yeah. Do you have money in IRA? Yeah, but I don't have access to it." Well, you can get them to move to a self-directed IRA, and they can invest. And they have money they didn't know they had. That's one. Number 2 is these self-directed IRA companies. They have educational events where they hold them regularly, like once or twice a year, and they bring all their investors together and they teach them investment strategies, because again, now they've moved their money from a place they can invest it to a place they can invest it. So the goals for them is to give them their clients the ability and education on how to invest that money and do it right. So you can go to those events, you can network, you can meet investors, and it's just a great, fantastic place to raise money. And again, that's just a gold mine. You start looking at self-directed IRAs and you start asking people in your network, do they have money in their IRA? And I can't tell you how many times we find people that have $250,000, $500,000, $700,000 in an IRA account that's just sitting there, not earning really any return on investments. And that's one of the millionaire strategies that, all wealthy people, they put their money to work for them, right? They put their money to work for them. So, you know, that's the whole goal is you make money and then put your money to work for yourself, so your money's making money. And that's, if you got money sitting in an IRA account, it's not doing anything, you can do that. Now think about that for a second. You might have money in an IRA account. Could you use your own money? Well, that's something you need to talk to the lawyers about and do that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of share with you, that's my presentation on the 11 secrets. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys like that, go ahead and give me a big shout out and tell me what you thought. So that's part of this. This is just one section of what I call the Angel Money Bootcamp, and I want to share with you, how you can get more of this information. If you believe this information is valuable, if you believe like I do that this is some of the most valuable information you could have, and you'd like to have more, I want to share with you what Angel Money Bootcamp is, brought to you by Angel Investors Network, and why this could be such an important thing for you to do and how you can get access to that. Okay, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Paul. Thank you, Candace. I appreciate it. Everyone's giving good shout-outs. You always liking it. Learned some great stuff. Never heard of the IRA before. That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So with that being said, let me share with you what Angel Money Bootcamp is, because what I want to do is I want to empower you with knowledge and information so you can make the right decisions. You can accelerate your growth. You can accelerate your path to success and get what you want to implement your dream and create jobs, stimulate the economy, and keep America great. So we have this Angel Money Bootcamp membership, and I'm going to show you guys at the end of this a live presentation of the membership site itself, but I'm going to share with you what's in the membership site. So I have another training I did just like this called the 7 Secrets to Raising Capital, and we do touch on mindset, but there's 6 other secrets that you also must understand that's going to help you, really kind of get what you need when it comes to dealing with investors. The 7 Secrets of Raising Capital. I'm grabbing my book right now, and I want to just kind of get a couple notes here. But the 7 Secrets to Raising Capital, it's something that everybody needs to understand, these 7 things, because again, otherwise you just don't stand a chance. You really don't stand a chance because you're competing against other companies looking for money. Now that's a $97. I sell these for $97. So this training I normally sell for $97, but I want to give you guys the free access to it to get a taste of Greg Ryder, give you a taste of what we're doing. And then we have crowdfunding secrets revealed. With the new laws and with the new platforms and with Facebook and social media and email lists and email marketing, crowdfunding is really one of the best alternatives for most entrepreneurs when trying to raise some capital for their dream, their business, their invention, their product, their service. And so I have a whole course on crowdfunding, how to do it, how to pick a crowdfunding site, what to do and how to do it and what's going on. It's an awesome course. You're going to love that. Then if you've ever watched Shark Tank TV show, you know that every week the entrepreneur starts off with, I'm looking for X number of dollars for X% of my company. And that's the basis for a valuation. What is your company worth? And you hear every week for almost every entrepreneur is like, how do you justify that valuation? You're valuing yourself too much. You're crazy. So I want to teach you the basics of valuation. I call it Valuation Secrets Revealed, so that save you from the sharks. So the idea is, we don't want you to give up too much to your company, but we also want you to be able to raise the capital. And I'll give you a little story real quick. One of the ladies that was working with me about a year ago, she invented a really cool drink mixer called Bear Mixers, B-A-R-E Mixers. And she got this thing going and thought it was going to take off. Didn't quite take off, so she needed to get some investors. And I met her after this happened, but it was just so sad. She ended up giving up 70% of her company to an investor group who agreed to pay her bills and to keep her going. But 1, don't pay her a salary, and 2, don't give her any money for marketing and for growth. She's got to build the company, make the company work without any money for marketing or growth, and she gave up 70% of the company. And it was just a stupid idea for investors to do that because it killed her spirit. And two, it was a stupid idea for her to do it because she gave up 70% of her company for somebody to pay her bills and no operating capital. It was just dumb. But she didn't know any better, right? So it goes back to valuation. It goes back to knowing what you can do and knowing where to find investors and knowing how to structure your deals and knowing what to say and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to share with you what I call a due diligence review package. So as an investor, when we look at a company, we do what's called due diligence. We want to look at your intellectual property. We want to look at your financial statements. We want to look at your team. We want to interview people on your team. We want to do research on your technology, on your story, on your market. And so we have a due diligence review checklist and a package that we have, and we're going to give you access to that so you can look at that and go, oh, this is what investors are looking for. What's most impressive to an investor, especially professional investors, when they go to do your due diligence and you hand them a 3-ring binder with everything that they could possibly want all put together. That's how I got the $4 million from the Laffer Frisberg Walls Economic Development Fund. When they started going through their due diligence process, which normally takes 90 days, I handed them a 3-ring binder. Actually, I handed them 2 3-ring binders and gave them all the contracts, all the letter of intent, all the financial statements, all the business plans, everything that they could possibly want based on these checklists. And we got through that funding and that due diligence process in about 1/3 of the time. You need this information to help you get the funding that you want to know. Plus, it's just great information to know. So you're an investor, right? And you want to do this. You're going to want to know that information. Then I have some interviews that I've done with professionals that reveal some great strategies, some great tactics, and some great information from a different perspective than mine. So I have one with Paul Hoyt. That's a $47 interview. He talks about the 3 mistakes to avoid. It's awesome content. Paul Hoyt's awesome at helping people with financial review, financial modeling, and business plans. Guy's incredible. He's on our team, and he could help investors. Then I have another interview with our securities attorney, Jim Burke, where we talk about capital raising strategies with an actual securities SEC qualified attorney, and that's another $47 value. In addition, I can get you a complimentary 20-minute call with Jim, and he can talk to you about your needs from a legal standpoint to make sure you don't break any laws. So it's just great value. Then I have another interview with Finding Seed and Early Stage Capital with Tarby Bryant. Tarby Bryant has been running an angel group for the better part of 20 years. He has angel group meetings. I don't know if he's still doing it right now, but he was doing it in 5 different cities all over the country. So he's just an incredible guy of finding seed stage capital. He's got a great database of investors, and he can help you. I got a great interview with him that you can listen to. And then I got another interview with Paul Hoyt that's how to impress angel investors, which was a great, now he's giving you the money magnet from Paul's point of view, which he's got a great way to articulate it, and he's doing great stuff. And then one of my friends was an investment banker, and at one point Jack Alexander had the largest broker-dealer in the country with over 1,000 brokers. So with 1,000 brokers, he was doing a lot of investing and managing a lot of money and doing a lot of stuff. And I got an interview with him talking about the mistakes entrepreneurs make. And very enlightening when you listen to an investment banker that's been involved, and he's 10 times bigger than me when it comes to raising money, and him sharing what he's gone on that. And then I have an interview with Dave Hops, who was an actual entrepreneur, and he's got those horror stories that he talks about as far as dealing with a lot of posers and a lot of people that told him they were going to do things and taking up front fees, not doing stuff, and he talked about the pitfalls of raising capital, and that's something else, again, you want to avoid. And again, these interviews are great things to listen to on your iPad, your iPod, while you're running, while you're jogging, because this is going to give you the knowledge that you need to get where you want to go faster and to avoid mistakes that literally can cost you millions and millions of dollars, as well as possibly cost you your dream altogether. So all this is incorporated into the Angel Money Bootcamp. And in addition, I did another interview with a PR expert, Devin Blaine, and we talk about how using press releases and PR and raising capital go together hand in hand to give you credibility and to increase your intrinsic value and to show the investors that you understand press release and PR. And that's a great interview. Then I have another one about the mistakes to avoid with Barry Spilchuk. Barry Spilchuk is personally coached over, I'm going to say, I think the number was 10,000. It's probably higher, but 10,000 entrepreneurs over like a 15-year period of time. He actually is the author of the Cup of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So he's one of the authors of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Great interview where he again gives you his wisdom about the mistakes to avoid as a entrepreneur raising capital from his perspective. And then I have another one with John Nelson, and John Nelson is another great interview talking about the things to avoid when doing this kind of stuff. And then we're going to give you a business plan outline. So you say, okay, I got to get a business plan together. That's what the investors want to see. They want to see my business plan, and you have to have an executive summary. And we're going to talk about what should be in your business plan and your business plan outline. And again, that's going to save you time and money, having a business plan outline that literally is structured for investors. So that's a great little tool. And then in order for you to raise capital legally, you have to have what's called a private placement memorandum. Not in all cases, but in most cases. And we recommend in all cases you have one. You're not legally required by law to have one, but we recommend you have them. And so we have in the members area some sample private placement memorandums that you can download and you can look at and you can read about the risk factors and all the things that are in it, so you can see what you need. Now with the internet and what's going on online, you can get these done fairly inexpensive now. In the old days, it used to cost $15,000 to $25,000, maybe as much as $50,000 to have your private placement memorandum drafted by an attorney. But now there's a lot of templates out there, a lot of websites out there, and we'll help share that stuff with you in the members area, how to get that done. But we want you to see some sample ones. We want to save you time. We want to save you money. And I believe that's about $1,000 value, giving you examples that literally you could take these examples and write your own, and then maybe have an attorney review it for a few $1,000 to make sure you got your legal counsel on that as well. So just a great ton of content. So just to recap, what's in the Angel Money Bootcamp membership is you have the 7 secrets to raising capital, the 11 secrets to finding investors, the crowdfunding secrets revealed, valuation that saves you from the sharks, the primary due diligence review, the 3 mistakes to avoid with Paul Hoyt, capital raising strategies with Jim Berg, finding seed and early stage capital with Tarby Bryant, how to impress angel investors with Paul Hoyt, mistakes entrepreneurs make with Jack Alexander, the pitfalls of raising capital with Dave Hobbs, raising capital and PR with Devin Blaine, top mistakes to avoid with Barry Spilchip, top mistakes to avoid with John Nelson, and your business plan outline. That is maybe sounds overwhelming, but literally if you're serious about what you want to do and you're serious about getting your company funded and you're serious about doing this, you can consume all that content in less than a week. And it's like an MBA in finance, an MBA in early stage financing, to get multiple perspectives, multiple wisdom and key things from these people. You get that done, and it would be very, very beneficial for you. So now you're going, okay, Greg, got it. I want it. It sounds like it's going to cost a fortune, right? How much is this going to cost me? Well, I wanted to kind of give you an example of the value of this. So I can't play this video because I don't think it'll play with this system. But this is on YouTube. You can Google it. How to Raise Capital, the #1 skill set of an entrepreneur by Robert Kiyosaki. And obviously Robert Kiyosaki is a very successful guy doing business with Donald Trump and that kind of stuff. You'll find that he doesn't even do these anymore, but he was doing a workshop, and it was a 3-day seminar with him and some advisors, and he charged $5,000 for his workshop. Well, going through all of our content is like going through a workshop. So he's telling you it's $5,000, and he filled that workshop up. How to Raise Capital, the #1 skill set of an entrepreneur. So $5,000. Well, I'm not going to ask you for $5,000 to join the Angel Money Bootcamp. I know most entrepreneurs can't do that. I know that you want to get this information, but you don't have the money to do it. And I'm not going to ask you to make an investment of $2,000, although $2,000 would be a steal to get this information. And obviously, if you do make the investment, you want to get this membership, we're going to give you a 60-day money-back guarantee. Go in there, go through it. If you don't think this content was worth it, just ask for your money back. We'll give you your money back, no questions asked. And I'm not going to ask you for $1,500, right? I'm not even going to ask you for $1,000. This would be a steal. What's it worth? What's the cost to you not to get your funding, right? So you say to yourself, what's this really worth to me? Well, I would say to you, it's not what's worth to you. It's what's the cost of you not getting this information. Not getting this information is a good chance you're never going to get funded. If you never get funded, you never get your dream off the ground. You never get the funding you need to implement your business plan. You never can build that cash flow, that business that you want to sell for millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions, right? I'm not even going to ask for $750. I'm not even going to ask for $500. Not even $400. I wanted to make this affordable for everybody, right? So for everybody, today's investment is $297. Now, if you're going, I'm in for $297, you can go to angelnetwork.com, AMBC, angelnetwork.com, AMBC, and for the first 5 people, I'm going to throw in a bonus that's worth $1,164. Kind of like, wait, there's more, right? So here's the bonus, and my slide messed up when I made it stretch out. I own another company that we invested in called BizPad, and BizPad, BIZPAD.com. We have a $97 a month plan. You get 100 gigabytes of storage, and it's a project management and task management system. And why do I want to give this to you as a bonus? Because if you start to use a task management system and a project management system, you're going to be more effective. And that's also going to impress investors that you use systems to make your company and your business efficient. Right? So we have 4 plans. If you went to BizPad right now and you clicked on pricing, you would see a $997 plan, a $27 a month plan, a $47 a month plan, and a $97 a month plan. I'm going to give you the $97 a month plan for 1 year. That's a real value of $1,164. Right? Why am I going to do this? Because again, I want you to be more effective as an entrepreneur. I want you to have better tools as an entrepreneur. And in addition, I can do it because I own the company. And it's a cloud-based software program. It doesn't cost me anything to do this. I'm giving you real world value that's a great deal for both of us, right? So again, the first 5 people that take action right now, go to angelnetwork.com, AMBC. I'm going to see the orders coming through any minute, and I'm going to tell you the first 5 people that are going to make that, they're going to get that bonus. I'm going to send you this bonus. So your investment today to get access to the Angel Money Bootcamp and everything I explained is $297 with your 60-day money-back guarantee. All right, very cool. So I see the first orders coming through. Thank you. It's Candace. Thank you, Candace. I really appreciate that. I see that coming through. Very cool. So you're definitely getting that bonus. So again, if you're thinking about this and you're going, should I or should I not, I'm taking all the risk. Literally, if you feel that this information does not benefit you, I will give you a refund. And to be honest with you, I do give refunds. There are people that got in there and they didn't care for it or they thought it wasn't for them. I give them a refund. That's not a big deal to us. But on the other hand, if you're not in a position to make a $297 investment for you to raise the capital and have the tools you need to get where you want to go, the chances are you're not going to succeed anyway, right? This is a commitment. This is a very small micro commitment of your money to get the right information, to get the relationship with us, so you can raise that capital you need. And let me say this to be real honest with you too. If you say to Greg, I want to get your investors, I want you to invest, I'm not even going to look at your deal if you haven't invested in my courses and gone through this stuff, because when I ask you these questions and you don't have the questions answered to my training and what I'm teaching you, I'm going to throw your business plan in the trash can. I'm wasting my time. So I'm just not going to do it. So let me, oh, thank you very much. I see Dan from Sacramento. Thank you, Dan. There's another order coming in. Up here's another one. I see Ed made the investment. Thank you, Ed. I really appreciate that. So let me go ahead and log in while these orders are coming in. Let me log into the members area and show you exactly what that looks like. So I'm going to go to my screen here, and I'm going to launch my browser, and here I am. So I have logged in to Angel Money Bootcamp. And when you log into Angel Money Bootcamp, there's a little welcome video from me right here, and I'm going to hit refresh because it timed out on me. So very, very cool little membership area. Got a little welcome video right here where I just welcome you to the members area and say good job. Okay. Then I have a little link here. If you need help, you can click right there. And then you're going to click on this content tab. And in the content tab, my content is not showing up. So I just had this built last night. My son made a change. Let me see. Nope. The content is not there, so that's the thing. Well, so much for the demo of the content tab. So I got to go get that fixed right away. I hate that when it happens. Let me show you one thing. We do have Ask the Question. So one of the cool little features of Ask the Expert, Ask the Question, is when you're in here and by the way, we just moved everything over to this new platform, literally like in the last 24 to 40 hours. So that's why something's going wrong right there. But we'll have it fixed pretty quick before you get in there. Oh, I see another order from Susie. Susie in Florida. Where's that? Susie from Florida. Thank you, Susie. Appreciate that. You're going to get that bonus. I think we have one more. We have one more bonus thing coming on. So you can come in here and you can ask a question of whatever your question is. And as the questions are asked, we're going to create a knowledge base, and then I'm going to answer your questions. So it's Ask the Expert, and so as time and more people get in here, more and more questions will be asked and answered, and you'll have more stuff. Then you can click on Facebook and you can go get right access to our Facebook page, and you can get involved in our conversation online on Facebook and share your information there. And we're going to get investors are on our page, entrepreneurs are on our page, C-level executives are on our page, a lot of stuff going on our page that are just awesome for entrepreneurs. So with that being said, let me come back here and say I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now I'm back to my video screen, so I can't see the orders coming in. So I want to say thanks. Again, angelnetwork.com, AMBC, short for Angel Money Bootcamp. Go ahead, click on that link, make your investment. We'll get you access to the members area within 24 hours. You'll have the Ask the Expert. You'll have access to all that pre-recorded content. You'll be able to download the PDFs. You'll be able to download the checklist. You'll be able to download the templates. And we're going to get you the tools, the information, and the knowledge you need to accelerate your growth and be ready to go. Then, when you get ready to go in the members area, we'll make available a place for you to apply to get in front of us as investors, or to apply to get in front of all of our investors in the network. So if you want to get access to our investors and you want to put your deal in front of our investors, go ahead, join the Angel Money Bootcamp membership, and we will make that happen. So I want to say thank you. We've been going a little over an hour right now, it looks like. I want to say thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed that presentation, and let me open it up for questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask your questions right now, and I'll try to answer your questions. So let me see if we got any questions. I got to go to the Q&A. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let me see over here. So, okay, so I don't see any questions right now. Go ahead and ask any questions you have. If you have a question, go ahead and ask your questions right now, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Let's see here. There we go. So I don't see any coming through right yet, but let me see here. So okay, so Dan is asking, what is the average investment that angel investors make? Well, the average investment angel investors make, I typically invest 25, 50, max 100,000. I usually never put more than 100,000 into any type of company. And most professional angel investors like that because we like to diversify. We want to put investments in 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 deals. So, but there are investors that have the kind of money where they can put $1 million or $500,000 in a deal, and they're more hands-on, they're more active, and they're all that kind of stuff. So, okay, and then Mary is asking, you mentioned about the private placement memorandum, and you may not need it, but you said you should need it. Okay, so to clarify about the private placement memorandum, is you raise money based on certain federal laws and certain state laws, and both with federal and state laws, you have what they call risk disclosure and disclosure documents. Depending on how much money you're raising, you're not required by law on a federal level to have disclosure documents, and in some states you are, in some states you're not, and the federal laws don't necessarily match up with the state laws, so you got to be careful, and you got to talk to your securities counsel about that. So when you do that, well, here's what we recommend. You should always put together a risk disclosure document, because it just protects you. It protects you, the entrepreneur, that you've properly disclosed to the investor, everything there is to know based on the rules that if you were required, you comply with those rules even though you're not. So to me, just do it. Just create your disclosure document and do that, and get that done. It's one of those things. Okay, so Pete is asking, how do we get access to the call with the attorney, the free call, Okay, so when you're in the members area, if you just ask that question, how do I get to the securities attorney, and you might need an intellectual property attorney, you might need a patent attorney, trademarks, any of that kind of stuff. We have a whole bunch of attorneys in our network that have agreed to give Angel Investor Network clients and Angel Money Bootcamp, customers and membership people free consultations to kind of get things started. And I always recommend you try to talk to 2 or 3 to find one that resonates with you, that you like, that will really serve you as best as you can and work with you. So just when you get into the Angel Money Bootcamp membership area, go ahead and ask that question. Greg, please, how do I get a referral to an intellectual property attorney? How do I get a referral to a securities attorney? Or for that matter, an accountant or whatever you want. And we'll do our best to try to refer you to that, as well as you can do that on the Facebook page when you get involved with the Facebook page and that group as well. So, okay, so we have a question. How do I get access to the members area? So what's going to happen is you make your investment. You go to angelnetwork.com/AMBC. It'll take you to the credit card page. On the credit card page, it's going to reinforce and share with you everything you're getting. You put in your credit card, $297, hit the submit button. Your credit card will be processed. You'll then get an email, and then my team will get your receipt, and then they'll go set you up in the members area. Then you'll get a separate email with your username and your password, so that you can access the members area and have access to all the content. So it's really very simple. And then you can watch this content anytime you want to watch it. You can watch it over and over and over again if something needs to sink in for you. If you want to, and I don't mind you sharing it with your immediate team. So let's say you have 2 or 3 people on your team. I don't mind you sharing your username and password with your team to get in there. I don't think I should make everybody, you have 4 people on your company, have 4 people pay for it. You guys can share that content and learn together, and we want to help you. We want to help you get to where you're going. Okay. Oh, and then the one thing I just remembered too. Do I have one here? We also have a PDF version of our newsletter that we're going to share with you, and you can check out our newsletter that we publish monthly. And if you want to get our monthly membership newsletter, you can do that as well. So we'll send you an email about that as well. But you'll get a complimentary issue of our monthly newsletter because somebody was asking if they knew about our newsletter. Well, that's I don't see any more questions coming in, so I think I've done a good job. I hope I've done a good job. I hope all your questions are answered. So again, I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you guys that have joined the Angel Money Bootcamp and you got your Angel Money Bootcamp membership. For those of you who are still thinking about it, go to, I'll just put that up here again real quick. Oh, I forgot. Oh, here, I'm glad I did this. So I promised you guys that stayed till the end of your free book. So if you go to angelnetwork.com/free book, angelnetwork.com/free book, you'll be able to download and get access to a copy of an ebook version of Saving America One Crowd at a Time. And again, I don't know if that 5th order came in yet because I'm not looking at that screen now, but you guys are thinking, sitting on the fence, go to angelnetwork.com, AMBC, go ahead, sign up today. I'm going to give you a 60-day money-back guarantee. It's $297 one-time fee. You're going to get access to all of this content that I listed out right here, and all this information is going to help you accelerate your growth, your business, and we're going to continue to rain on you great content, great information that's going to help you get the funding you need, find investors, and maybe it's an alternative form of financing. Maybe we're going to help you get debt with credit cards. Maybe we're going to refer you to people. Maybe we're going to show you how to do some marketing and some joint venture techniques where you don't even need investors. Maybe it's crowdfunding. You're going to get access to all of that content in the members area. So go ahead, I think that you should go to, angelnetwork.com/AMBC. Go ahead, register, sign up today, and ask any questions you have in the members area. And I want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Go ahead, refer everybody you know to angelnetwork.com and check it out. And until then, this is Greg Redder saying, do what I do. Wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude and tell somebody you love them. We appreciate everybody. Have a fantastic day.